Hello and welcome to the Overly Animated Podcast, where we take animation seriously. We talk everything animation here, including Mysticons, which we'll be getting into right now. I'm Dylan Hysen, and today I'm joined by Delaney Stovall.
Hey, y'all.
April Collins.
Hi.
And Beatriz Mourad.
Hello.
Today, Delaney, April, Beatriz, and I are talking episode 25 of Mysticons Twin Stars Unite that aired yesterday, Saturday at 8 a.m. on Nicktoons. That's the time slot Mysticons is airing now. This is the penultimate episode of what we're considering the second season of Mysticons. We talk Mysticons every week here on the Overly Animated Podcast. You can find us at overlyanimated.com or search for Overly Animated Mysticons on iTunes and subscribe there, or YouTube to not miss any of our future Mysticons podcasts. Big spoilers for this episode of Mysticons. Really make sure you've seen Twin Stars Unite. Get out now if you have not seen this episode. That being said, the alternate, leave immediately. The alternate title for this podcast is the Zarya's the Twin Celebration Podcast. We did it.
We got Dylan right.
We did it.
Yeah.
It happened.
This far, you guys.
This is an X minutes long celebration. It happens, and we're going to be talking about it. So let's dive right in. Delaney, what are your reactions to this episode?
The whole time I was like, they're gonna do it. It's gonna be Zarya, and then it happened. I like how they did it, because the first I was like, it's not gonna work. It's not, and then I was like, oh my god, is it going to work? And then it didn't work. And then Zarya just casually leans up against it. Oh, so good. And then everyone's just so confused. It's fabulous.
Yeah. No, do you like the episode?
Yeah. Yeah, it was good. I mean, I feel like, other than the fact that it's Zarya, not a lot happens, other than the dragon's really cool. Though it was really funny, Necropa just, trashed. I thought it was a really good episode for Necropa. She, she's absurdly tall, and her eyes, I'm captivated by her eyes in this episode. It's so weird. She just looks shocked the whole episode, and then she'll, do her weird, face switch thing. So I thought it was a really good Necropa episode. It was not that we got to know Necropa or anything, but I just thought it was a good Necropa episode. Yeah, and then Taz was terrified the whole time.
Yeah, Necropa was very hype at the end about the dragon coming out. She was like, "Yay, dragon!"
So hype.
Yeah, it was great. Okay, yeah, I agree. It was a good Necropa episode. April, what are your reactions?
It was a really good episode. The B plot was very hit or miss for me, but it was nice seeing Tasma doing stuff, I guess, and I guess actually being useful, even though she sort of dropped the ball on figuring out that Zarya is the real twin. But whatever, it's fine. But it was good. It was kind of nice to see them I guess Necropa's powers a little bit more, because we've only ever seen her really screaming and then just being soft but angry on Tasma, so that was kind of cool. And we got to see the spectral dragon, so that's exciting. But whenever it didn't work, I was like, yep, here we go, guys. Zarya's gonna be the twin. I'm ready for it. All she's got to do is just touch it. And then I saw Arcana just put her hand on it, and I was like, it's happening. This is going to happen. I was in that simple touch. And then I was just waiting. I was on the edge of my seat, come on, Zarya, touch the other one. Do it. I don't care how you touch it. And then she did. And I fist bumped in the air. It was good for me. So I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, so hype. Okay. Beatriz, what did you think?
I mean, first I just want to say, Dylan, you were on point. Everything you described
don't.
Delaney, you missed it at the end of the last podcast. I was this is how it's exactly going to happen. And
but
almost
it doesn't
exactly
matter. You don't give Dylan credit. You don't do that. I know you're not used to this. I know this is kind of new. Don't tell Dylan he's right. You don't do that.
Yeah, you never heard the end of it. But anyway,
he doesn't need that ego boost, okay?
All right. Well, okay, well then fine.
He doesn't deserve it.
Look, Delaney, I was thinking about this. This is the first time I've ever been right about a major theory on this podcast. I think it might be.
But it's so annoying, because it doesn't matter if you're wrong or not. You still act like you're right.
Oh yeah, that's definitely true. Okay, continue, Beatrice.
But it was really funny, because I had no doubt the moment I heard Zarya make a reference to the prince and the pauper. I had no doubt that this wasn't going to happen. I was just any thought that Proxima wasn't going to be the sister, like that was the sister and was the twin, like went away the minute I heard that line. And I don't know, it was glorious for that moment. And I love how everyone was just like, no, you know, usually like everything will stop and you'll have a moment in a show because, oh my God, the big reveal. But everyone was just like, wait, there's a dragon right now. We can't talk about this. We got to go. So I really enjoyed it. And I actually enjoyed the B plot. I was like, this is kind of like this, I don't remember what even that movie was called, but it was like, came out last year. It was like with Jake Gyllenhaal and Ryan Reynolds. And it was this like alien thing happening. And it was kind of like Alien, but it happened in like the space station on Earth. It was this really weird movie. And this little B plot kind of reminded me of it. And this little hand was kind of like the alien. Point is, it was a lot of fun and I enjoyed it. And I don't know. Again, it just kind of like what April said, nothing really major happens. And everything's kind of felt like just very rushed. I think they could have, from past episodes, they could have built things up a little bit more, sprinkled things out throughout. But that's just something that I've always struggled with this season. But I had a really great time. And finally it happened. I'm a little upset that the dragon isn't like a baby dragon. It's just a full out big dragon.
Full-grown dragon.
Because it's like it came from an egg. I wanted there to be like kind of this humorous moment where it's like, it kind of like the centaurs or whatever, where it's like, oh no, the dragon. Oh wait, it's a baby. And I kind of hoped that it could have been like a duckling and kind of just gotten attached to the Mysticons a little bit and then been like really funny. And then the Croft have been like, wait, what's going on? But then that didn't happen, which is fine. But I appreciate Necrofa, but I still don't get her. Like, she can't just randomly suddenly be scary. They did not build her character up to that. So I'm just like, you're being like a mom, just dragging Tasma along, being like, I'm gonna punish you because you're gonna be grounded for this. And it's just like, what are you doing? Just punish her in front of everybody. You don't need to take her to a separate room. There's no point to that. I mean, that was just a lot of stuff, but it was great. I enjoyed it, but a lot of the stuff that bothers me have been bothering me for a while.
Okay. Life is the movie you're talking about. Yeah.
Yes, Life.
Why is the B plot? Why is the Malveron dog like the 2017 film Life?
Because like you have that, it's like, okay, because in Life it starts out as this like little thing, and it kind of looks a little bit like a hand type of thing, and everyone's just like freaking out about it, and it's, I don't know.
I guess the poster has a hand on it. I'm looking at it now. That's okay.
It just reminded me of like the little powerful alien thing that can kill you. Okay. And it's just kind of like, you know.
Okay. It's just kind of like, gotcha. Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, great episode. It happens. I was so excited for the Zarya twist to happen. And, I think the show had been really telegraphing it. And we'd been on this, every single week. If you listen to this podcast consistently, like, I've kept checking it. I'm like, we sure this is happening? Yes, it's happening. And, they've really built it up well. I think it was a really brilliant twist. This is just kind of part one. I think we're going to see the ramifications of it next week and to come, because this is like a character twist. So I think that we just need to see how Zarya reacts to this and how Arcane and Zarya interacting.
Oh, and Proxima is going to be destroyed.
Right.
Oh, yeah, she's going to be so
villain
upset.
of season 3.
Right. We'll talk about Proud Proxima.
Because they Kuvira'd her.
You'd think we were like, are they Kuviraing her? Okay, she turns out to be the decoy that we thought she was, but is she going to have importance next season? Other than just being introduced to be the decoy of the twin. But yeah, Proxima, pretty ambiguous in her reactions in this episode. She's like upset at one point, but it turns out she's acting, so she doesn't seem upset right now, but we will have to see with her. I think it's a really good episode. There's a few segments that are just excellent. And then there's some stuff that I wasn't crazy about, like the Doug and Malveron B plot. I thought that we had figured out that wasn't a good idea, but, no, so it wasn't like terrible. It was just, it just doesn't, I feel like it didn't belong in this type of, big hype episode.
I agree. It doesn't, but at the same time, it's fine.
When he chest bumped it, I was like, "Are you serious?"
That was the most Doug thing.
He was so angry. I loved that line delivery because he responded like every viewer did. It's just like, "Are you kidding me?" I thought that was really well done.
Yeah, the specific contents weren't that bad. It just feels very out of place when these super hype things are happening in the A plot, and it's like, okay, Doug and Malveron,
and they're just like running around, like they're just like, ah!
Yeah.
I was rewatching some season 1 episodes yesterday, and there are episodes when Doug is utilized a lot better, but he can't be in his own plot. Like, he needs to just be in the background of whatever we're doing, and then I think he's better. But Doug and Malveron together, not working. And then there's a few other minor things that I want to get into, but overall, I think it was a really great hype episode. Maybe not quite to the levels of the 2 season 1 finale episodes, but it was still really excellent, and this huge twist happened. So let's talk. Zarya is the twin. We've already been talking about it, and the small Mysticons fandom is shook at this.
Shook.
Despite me trying to tell them, it's please listen to me. This is happening. There's still people are hype, people are upset. They're acting very strongly.
Y'all should just trust us more.
Yeah, trust me on every major theory. Like,
okay, you know what? I take back everything I said in the beginning.
Lion is Pink Diamond. Now we know that's confirmed. I was trying to think, have we ever been right about anything like major before?
I'm right about things.
Yeah, but like predicting major, we were right about like Hawkmoth and Ladybug and like stuff. Like, there's some stuff that we were right about.
Okay, anyway. Being right about Hawkmoth doesn't even matter. Like, that doesn't even count.
You don't get that.
But this is this clicked into place for me in episode 20, and I really think that this is a twist that was telegraphed by the show the previous 6 episodes. Specifically, I think showing the baby, and just seeing how much it matched hair and eye color to Zarya was a real big giveaway. But overall, this is like a twist that's been building since episode 1 and is paying off in episode 25. And it's like crazy that we're seeing something like this. Like, I think maybe the thing that this maybe reminds me of is Garnet and Steven Universe being a fusion. Like that much patience, like intricately crafted from the beginning, that much patience with the twist. And, I don't know. Delaney, now that it finally happened, how does this feel fulfilling, I guess, given what we've seen from the show?
I think so, yeah. Especially like that whole moment of like, like we're BFFs and like we're really close, and like there's just been a lot of, especially just I just felt a big payoff in all these different scenes where like it's just Arcana and Zarya looking at each other, and like just the payoff of like, okay, Zarya's clearly a homo, but then, like, she's really close to Arcana, but they've been trying to build Arcana up with Malveron, and then, of course, Moonboon. So, I mean, it's just a great payoff, and just, also, like, it's very cliche, but I think they've executed it very well. You know, you start off, you have, Zarya from the Undercity, she comes from nothing, and she hates Arcana just because of, like, her position in life and kind of the way Arcana acts. And then they both, start to like grow on each other. They both start to develop as people. And it honestly is a great service to Arcana's character. It's kind of terrible though, because they've done a lot of it just through Zarya, because Zarya is like a brilliant character. So Arcana's like coming into her own, but like they just like build off of each other so well, and like their banter. So I think this is like a great execution of this, like, at the base level, it's very cliche. It's very predictable, and yet they've executed it very well. They've made it a plot twist. They've made it a shock. Because, I mean, it's so weird. It's like, oh, they're just teammates and they're friends, but I guess they're sisters, ? Like, it's really cool. So I'm really happy with it, and I think it's been very successful.
Yeah, so I think to some people it might be like building since episode 1. This was introduced like 5 or 6 episodes ago, and that's true. Like the prophecy doesn't come into play until the end of episode 19.
So we're getting this payoff of their relationship.
Yes.
Yeah, with the characters, and that's honestly what it is this. It's really a payoff, I think, more for Zarya than Arcana. Like I did say that, like Arcana's, they've been developing Arcana's character through Zarya, but this is a big payoff for Zarya's character. We've kind of had this like mysterious kind of backstory. We know some of it. We don't know some of it. And Zarya just this very deep, and I think they really did a good job I wasn't on last podcast, but I just watched the previous episode, and the majority of the episode is Zarya being like, Arcana, the princess, she's spoiled. Yeah, she's safe in her little castle, this, and this. And I think they're doing a really great, like, they've done a really great job of developing Zarya's character to this, like, not that it's Zarya's fault that Arcana's rich and, like, powerful and these different, and privileged in a way that Zarya has not been, but just this, like, coming into her own and not, I don't know, it's just interesting, like, we're doing this, like, you know, literally, like, rags to riches kind of thing.
Yeah.
And this is about Zarya. This is this payoff for, like, her backstory, who she is, and to have this moment of, apparently she's royalty, something's going on, and just this kind of, like, coming to terms with, like, who she might be, and also, like, who Arcana is, that she's a princess, and it's not Arcana's fault that she's a princess anymore, that Zarya grew up on the streets.
And Zarya now also a princess? Princess Zarya?
Princess Zarya.
Are we calling her that now?
I'm going to.
I'm cool with it.
Zarya and her captain pirate person.
I know, right? Princess Zarya and the
It's more Sami all
fairy
over you
tale.
guys. This is going to be so great.
Yeah, by the
Power
way,
couple.
underrated joke I made in the Discord a while ago.
God.
I can't believe Zarya is going to become the first gay Disney princess when Disney buys Viacom in several years.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll
Great.
happen.
That's a pretty good joke.
Yeah, happening. Okay. Yeah, this is like they only introduced the plot element of it. Oh, and by the way, yeah, last episode did do a great job of, like, showing the contrast between how Zarya viewed Arcana before and now, by going back to episode 1. And they've only showed, this is just a minor plot thing that's been in the last, like, 6 or 7 episodes, but it's a character thing we've seen building. And if you've listened to the podcast the entire way, I think this is probably really even more of a fulfilling twist, because we've constantly commented on the close interactions between Zarya and Arcana. And at first, this manifested in us shipping the two of them together. Good, yeah.
As we were woke to do.
Good wolf, Zarkana. That's the big death in this episode. Rip the
Rip.
yeah.
R.I.P.
Yeah. I think this was before Kitty got introduced. We were all shipping this, like, number one ship, right? Like,
we still shipped it after Kitty was introduced.
Oh yeah, we still did.
And I fought y'all.
Yeah, and condolences to all the Good Wolf fans, well, included us, especially Rysen Kari, who has written many Good Wolf fan fictions. Yeah. And it's like, oh no, Beatriz, we did get Luke and Leia here. This is what's your reaction? Are you happy to be Luke and Leia?
I mean, I never was for Luke and Leia, since, like, you know, hindsight, it's all great, but I'm happy because I love Kitty, and I'm happy because I think this is going to be really interesting. The way this is going to play out is going to be really interesting for the story. But yeah, there's a little part of me that always likes, like, the two leaders to have, like, this, like, really deep relationship, and it's going to be deep. It's just in a different way than I expected. It's fine. It's fine.
Different way than expected.
And I don't mind it. But yeah, I will say I reserve my judgment over how this is going to be paid off until next episode, because we haven't had that moment yet where they actually do talk about it. This is just, it kind of just happened right now. I don't want to say, like, oh, this is a complete payoff for Zarya, or it's Arcana through Zarya. Like, I don't want to say that just yet, just because we haven't really explored it. We haven't really had a moment where it's presented to us that how this is going to be played with Zarya, or maybe it's going to be completely Arcana centric. We don't know. Like, maybe who knows? So I wouldn't go that far just yet. But I honestly can't wait is for that moment. Like, right now, the twist happened that we were just kind of all expecting, and great, awesome. I do think that's not up to the level of Garnet, because it was pretty obvious. But yeah, like, it got to the point where I was just like, okay, now, like, I want to see how they react. I don't care about the twist. I knew it was happening. Let's get, like, the actual character development from it, which we haven't seen quite yet.
Yeah, it's just part one of the 2-part finale. And the next episode description does have Arcana and Zarya off on their own plot, so there will presumably a lot of time to discuss this. I think this is much a better twist than Garnet, because Garnet wasn't built up like this. Garnet was just like, we had no concept of fusion and stuff like that, so we didn't, there wasn't the preceding evidence for Garnet was just like, if you pause it frame by frame, you can see that she's, like, breaking up and coming together when something happens. But, like, like, I don't think Garnet had the emotional character payoff that this had. Like, I really think this is something that they had from the very start, and something that I think Sean's talked about, creator Sean Jar, is that they got 40 episodes ordered for like this show. They came in with this really high amount of episodes, and it allows them to do stuff like this, which is just start building up this twist that you're not going to pay off until episode 25. And I really think it was brilliantly handled, because we've just been commenting on the close interactions between Zarya and Arcana all this time. I mean, this is like the ultimate trope subversion in that Zarya constantly calls Arcana princess. And it's like she is a princess too now. Like, this has been in front of us the entire time. We'd seen them increasingly close. We commented on how each, like, the last to like 5 or 6 episodes, there's always this big Zarya and Arcana moment. I just feel like it's so fulfilling in terms of their characters and how they've grown closer together, and how we've seen they're similar, like they commented this episode. April, agree or disagree with that characterization?
No, I agree for sure. It's just been like a really fun ride, like to see, like, they started from, like, you know, hating each other essentially, and now, like, this is where they are, and we knew it was going to be something, we just didn't know what. And yeah, we were Luke and Leia, but it's okay.
We knew it was going to be something. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Like, we knew it was going to be something, and then like to be fair, like, because, you know, you've commented many times, like, the fandom's not convinced, like, that Zarya is the twin and everything like that. And I think that, like, we kind of get lost in our roles, like, because we talk about so many shows all the time. And so, like, we've come to sort of expect kind of crazy things like this, whereas other people may not so much. And so, like, I can see where, like, the fandom was still convinced, you know, like, oh, Zarya is not the twin, it's Proxima or somebody else or something else, for that matter. So, but I just think the payoff of, like, what we've been building towards is just so nice. And I'm really curious to see, like, how each one of them reacts to that. Like, especially, like, Arcana, like, I really hope that it's very humbling for her to be, like, to come to this kind of realization that, like, oh, hey, that could have been you. Like, you could have been the other twin, and Zarya could have been the actual princess kind of thing. It's, like, kind of, like, play in that, like, role reversal kind of thing. I don't know. I feel like Zarya is going to be mad about it.
I mean, this is going to be like,
let there be an episode.
This challenges everything about her identity, right?
Exactly.
So that's going to be really hard to come to terms with. You know?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh no, I was going to say, like, I feel like she's just going to, like, as we know her, she's not going to be like happy kind of thing. Like I've had to go through all of this to, like, get to this point kind of thing. And I just don't see her being okay with that. And then she's going to get mad at Arcana because Arcana's going to try and calm her down, and she's not going to have it. This is how I see this playing.
Yeah, like, this has to be more challenging for Zarya than Arcana, because Zarya's whole self-image is based upon her being from the Undercity, and being an orphan, and, you know, now this changes all of that. So that's going to be hard for her to come to terms with. One thing, this cements Zarya's, I still have a lot more elements of the twist hit on. This cements Zarya's backstory as being the most extra backstory that I've ever seen. The person, in our world where this is like 4 girls playing D&D. The girl who came to the table with the Zarya character sheet definitely did not fit in the backstory into, like, whatever box. And it's like this 10-page essay on, and she goes up to the DM and it's like, okay, so I'm this orphan from the Undercity, and then I'm going to become this Mysticon. But actually, I was also, before that, I was this sky pirate, where I was with my best friend, who we'd gotten captured from our village, and I'm gonna have this whole epic romance with my childhood friend. Oh, but then there's gonna be a huge twist on top of all of that, where it turns out I'm actually the princess.
So, like, you're gay and you're a princess? Okay.
And then the DM is like, this is, what are you and then the Arcana character comes to the table and is like, with the backstory, so, like, I'm a princess, and wait,
I want to do that, me.
and Zarya's like, what, that's all you've got? I spent all night on this. Yeah, that's the
but wait, I also want to be a ranger, so I'm gonna be really OP, like.
Okay, guys, I figured it out. It's me. I made Zarya.
Delaney, it's you? Yeah.
It's me.
Zarya's backstory is so absurd,
Like,
yeah.
Rangers are my favorite, and I'm gay. It's me. I'm Arya.
Yeah, I think we figured that out before, but this is just
Well, obviously, but
further
still.
yeah. This is my alternate version of this is my version of Mysticons that ends Lego Movie style, where we just end live action and we pan out to like this is girls playing D&D the entire time, and that was the whole show. Anyway, that's my pitch for how we should end the show. But I think that's Zarya's backstory. Oh my god, like we didn't even see her village yet. We haven't even gotten like the backstory to her and Kitty growing up there. Okay, a few other elements to hit on. So one, mechanically, how does this twist work? Because things we saw in 3 Mysticons and a Baby, we saw like them get the birth gem and they splayed it, and we didn't see what they saw, but they came away with the notion that it is Proxima. One thing we commented at the time is that it's very easy that they got the wrong gem, because I think Arcana was born like at the stroke of midnight, so it could have been that Zarya was the twin was the previous day and they just grabbed the wrong stone. Is that what we think happened?
Yeah.
Yeah, and presumably they'll comment on this in a future episode.
I was gonna say, I think they probably like grabbed Proxima's, but they just grabbed you know what I mean? Like they grabbed Proxima's stone, but it was like the actual twin wasn't
Like,
Proxima.
man, all these darn orphans with purple hair.
Yeah. So and Zarya was orphaned at birth, which is what a few of her bios say, and she mentions her parents, but those are going to be her adopted parents in the village with Kitty. This does fit in with what we've seen. I don't think it's like we've gotten very vague outlines of all of this stuff, but I think it does work if you fit it in there. One thing I've asked this before is, were we meant to read Arcane and Zarya romantically, or was this just an unintended byproduct of them wanting to show them increasingly close to lead up to this twist?
Unintended byproduct. Completely. We're completely starved of gay representation, so we take any sort of physical contact as like, oh my god, maybe, and then it was something else. But what's great about this show is that we actually do have the representation coming. So it's not as if we get one and lose another. It's a happy miracle where we actually get both things, both an interesting twist and an actual development of 2 characters progressing, and also gay, which is great.
Yeah. Does this cement Moonboon as 100% canon? Because we haven't seen Kitty in like a while.
It has to be. Moon's gonna happen. It's real.
I really need Kitty. Like, we haven't seen her in a long time.
I agree.
Where is Kitty?
Where are the pirates? I'm not sure if they're going to be in the finale. They could be, but, yeah.
They have to be. We have to fight the spectral dragon that's way too OP.
Yeah, the season 1 finale, we basically just gathered up all of our characters, so we could do that again. But I don't know. The 2-minute preview didn't have Kitty. I don't know. Need the Moonboon to happen. And where's Casey? Yeah. Anyway, do you guys, Delaney, April, do you guys agree this was unintended? It being a romance read from us?
Yeah.
We just wanted it so
Unfortunately,
bad.
generally speaking, they tend to be unintended.
Yeah, and I think that's if it was completely unintended, I think that it's a little bit of like short-sighted. Like I feel like it's to us, from our perspective, obviously you read those 2 characters as romance. Like, yeah. But it's different types of people making the show, and although not that different, and it doesn't turn out to be bad, because we do have potentially Kitty and Zarya coming, or we've already had Kitty and Zarya, regardless of what's to come. We've already seen the 2 of them interact in romantic ways. It made it even more of an interesting journey. I do think that I don't know. It's like unlike Luke and Leia and Star Wars twists, and this is going to lead me into another segment here. This is planned out. Like, nothing in the original Star Wars trilogy.
Even in this one, nothing's planned.
Right. So Luke and Leia, like them kissing and stuff, it was like, okay, we'll change that. That was not. We thought we were not doing that, and now we're going to do that. Yeah, like this is that was a twist that was not planned from the beginning, and this was. So it's not like we had the Arcana Zarya romance moment that was that turned out like, okay, we'll go against that. It was just that we read their intimacy in a different way, and I do think it works as both. I think it's fine. Like in a different version of the show where we also don't have female romance separately, then this is potentially seen as like queer baiting or whatever. But thankfully we don't have to go down that road. So the one other thing I want to talk about is this being telegraphed. So we very much saw this coming starting from episode 20, and I think that this is an example of a twist that you can see coming. Like, I don't think that this is I don't think that the main point of this twist is that it's a surprise. And this is something I've seen Sam Esmail talk about a lot, the creator of Mr. Robot. That's like the twist show. So that's like what I like going to for a twist discussion. And he talks about how the most important thing is not to hide the reveal from the audience. It's better to build it up and to have some people seeing it coming, and how like in our modern age, people will always predict, because there's so much discussion online, people always predict something and they'll probably see it coming. And it's more important for it to like feel like fulfilling and to like have it be built up than to have it be this big reveal. And I think that's what this is. Like, I think that this is it was not the most important to the writers for this to be a huge shock. And I wonder whether they, in retrospect, we would have seen Baby Zarya or not, given that it triggered all of the fans. And it wasn't just me, it was also other people on Twitter and stuff to think that it was Zarya instead of Proxima. Like, I wonder if we would have taken that scene out to have it be more of a surprise, but I think that it's more important that it's fulfilling character-wise from the build-up, the scenes we've talked about having the Arcana and Zarya moments in each of the preceding episodes, rather than having it be this huge shock. Like, I think it works great, and it doesn't matter if we saw it coming. Agree or disagree, anyone?
I agree. I think, like, I think I definitely agree, like, that this reveal was more satisfying than shocking. And so I think that feels better, because you can sort of like, it encourages like that speculation, like keeps you like interested in guessing and
well,
trying
you can
to figure
surprise anybody.
Yeah.
You can just, well, it's like, the fusion thing, like you were talking about with Garnet, like that was just like, oh my God, like you're just shook. But I do think it's better, like, when you predict something and then like you can see it coming, like the writing's on the wall, like, it's better than just like these out of the, forever places. And because, when it's something shocking, it's like, oh, that wears off. But like the fact that Zarya, like the way that they built this up, like this is satisfying. And that's why we love this show, is because it's built up so well, and it's satisfying character wise. I mean, obviously Garnet being a fusion is awesome because she's like the living incarnate of a lesbian relationship. But for Zarya, like, it's just like, it's how we got here. It's not necessarily that happened, but that we built up to it.
Yeah, and it's that we built up to it so much. Unlike, I think Star Wars twists are the good thing to talk about. I think even the modern trilogy Star Wars twists are not things that were planned out from the beginning. But yeah, they
also keep changing writers, so that's like a different thing too.
It's also that nothing in that is planned out.
Right. So so back to the original story, the Luke and Leia thing, the Vader being Luke's father. Like, these are not that was not something that was that really made sense in the original movies, just because it wasn't planned from the beginning. This twist, I think, has you can work from this from the beginning, and I think it's a lot more satisfying because of it. That being said, I also think it works in the way that I'm going to be vague to try to not spoil The Last Jedi. It works in the way Rian Johnson's twists really work in The Last Jedi, in that his twists he's described as basically being the thing that this character most doesn't want to hear in this moment. Like, what is the hardest thing for them to hear? That's what he wanted to do, to have it be this challenging character moment. And like, I think the Zarya twist is the thing that Zarya is the hardest for her to hear. I think it's very similar to that twist with the character in The Last Jedi. Like, this completely challenges her own identity, and it's that plus it's built up. Like, I think it's like best of both of these worlds. So it's like, this twist is really satisfying to me on any number of levels. I've seen twists discussed by these people who make them, and I think it's awesome.
I think my big thing is I wish the Proxima Arcana thing had been a little bit more developed, just so we can also have some sort of what's that word? I guess so just so it wouldn't just be about Zarya, and it would also be something that's such a pivotal thing for Arcana as well. It's such a big thing for Zarya's identity. It's such a huge like shift for her that with Arcana, it's like, oh, well, nothing really changes other than this person that I thought was my sister for like 2 weeks. Now it's this other person who I've known for so much longer and I've actually have a deeper connection with. So it's kind of like, I don't know. I just feel like Arcana's character is getting the short end of the stick more often than not. And I do want her character to have something more to offer other than because I think the most interest I had in her was her trying to debone her parents. Like that tragedy of like, I'm losing them. Like that was her big thing. And now that thing's kind of on pause. And it's like, you can make the argument that now she's desperate for any sort of family and Gawain's just not going to give that to her. But no, I don't know. I wish maybe the Arcana element of the whole plot reveal twist, even if no matter how it's executed, I do want her side of it to be a lot more. Like, I feel more for Proxima than I do for Arcana. She doesn't gain or lose much. Proxima loses so much, and Zarya gains and loses things. So in terms of Arcana, I wanted her to be just as monumentally shook as everybody else, but I don't see how her reaction would be equivalent to everybody else's.
Well, I mean, I feel like it will be a big deal because, like, she's friends with her. Like, that's a pretty big deal. You're friends with somebody and it turns out you're related. Like, that's crazy.
See, but I wanted it more to be like, oh, she just found this person that suddenly she thinks means the world to her, but suddenly it's like, oh, surprise, we're going to take this away and we're going to put someone else there instead. If she and Proxima had been building up this relationship for a longer period of time, instead of 6 episodes, maybe 10 episodes, instead of Proxima being immediately taken away by Yaga, they had built some sort of, even if it wasn't before they knew they were twins, had built some sort of rapport between themselves and had their own separate relationship without Zarya, and then it would have been a little bit more impactful for Arcana. And, the thing with Zarya is that even if it's, oh, now it's my best friend, it's still through Zarya that she's dealing with this. I want something that's a struggle that Arcana has to deal with that is on Arcana, that is very much internal for her, rather than just like, oh, like, I don't know. I just think that had the relationship between her and Proxima been a little bit more developed or had a little bit more in it, then maybe we could have also had the Arcana complexities of it and not just the, oh, Zarya's like incredible and Proxima's going to have to struggle with this. While Arcana is kind of like, it's much more like, oh, this is different, but it's not on that level. Not to say that it isn't on a certain level, but it could have been on equal footing with them, and it isn't, and they could have made it that way.
Yeah. We got Star-Crossed Sisters, and that episode was all about building up Proxima and Arcana's sister relationship. And I think that I think that was good, but we didn't necessarily feel them on like a super emotional connection. It's just that we kind of saw them bonding.
Well, if you kind of think about it, and this might just be me like overanalyzing, but we kind of have already sort of built a little bit of a relationship like with Proxima and Arcana since the beginning of the season. Like that
argument was interesting.
Well, yeah, like the argument was interesting, but like if you go back to whenever Proxima was first introduced, like there was always that tension between them. Like, cause Proxima's like, oh, well, the Mysticons are ruining everything. Like, she was never like really on the side of the Mysticons kind of thing. And so that was like, I guess, a previous relationship if you want to. And then it was interesting to see whenever they were like, oh yeah, she's your sister. Like it was like a light switch kind of flipped off. And she was just like, oh my gosh, I love her so much. And it's like, no, you used to not enjoy this person whatsoever. So like, just because she's now suddenly your sister, like, you like feel this deep love for her. And even like during, I guess, like their sort of bonding episode, there was even still like that tension that we've kind of had before, like bad tension, not good tension. Still kind of seemed a little bit present. Like they weren't just like their connection wasn't the same as like, and their relationship didn't feel the same as it has with Arcana and Zarya. And so I wouldn't say that they just didn't have a relationship before. They did. It just wasn't like on the best of terms because I guess they were opposing forces. Proxima being an astromancer and Arcana being a Mysticon. So they still had that previous relationship, but I guess it kind of sort of like fizzled in the back as compared to like Arcana and Zarya, whose relationship was always very prominent. If that makes sense.
And that makes sense. And I'm not saying that they didn't have the relationship. I'm just saying I wanted that relationship maybe to, instead of maybe introducing Proxima in this season, had she been part of this whole thing from the start, since they did have the 40 episodes and they knew how this was going to play out, had she been introduced earlier, had they actually expanded on that maybe negativity and expanded on that relationship, kind of build it up a bit, maybe even had moments where they did somehow like set their differences aside and stuff, it wouldn't have been such a, I want to say they could have built up this relationship a lot more so that suddenly when Arcana gains a sister and loses another, it actually has a lot more weight to it than what we've already seen. Not that it doesn't have weight, just that it could have been much more intense than what they gave us. Which, not to say that it isn't there, but it could have been on a bigger level, similar to how it's going to be such a monumental shift for Zarya. It could have also been a monumental shift for Arcana. So, I think let's see. That's what I'm just saying. It could have been much more fleshed out.
We'll see how Arcana reacts to it. I think that's one thing I'm super interested in going forward is the how Proxima's going to react, how Arcana's going to react to all of this. It's definitely more impactful from the Zarya side. I do think ultimately Proxima is, at this point, is just a decoy, so, we don't want to spend that much time on her.
I think that's just, like, suffering from, like, her being a decoy.
But I do think that's, like, I feel like I have a handle on how things are going to go the next few episodes. I really have no idea what we're doing with Proxima, so that's going to be very interesting.
She's just fine. Like, what? I'm not
Proxima's going to be
anymore.
fine. Let's not be worried about her. She's, she doesn't need to be a princess in order to be happy. But
she's an astromancer. Come on now.
she's going to be fine. But yeah, I think we're going to do interesting things with Proxima. But she is a decoy. Arcana has had a lot of development outside of this twist. This is more of a Zarya thing, but I also think how Arcana reacts is going to be interesting. Arcana also had everything with Prophecy Unleashed and stuff like that this season. I don't think it takes away. Still think Arcana is like the most improved character this season. But yeah, well, very interested on the Arcana side moving forward and how this impacts her relationship with Zarya. Does Zarya being a second princess, does it like encroach on Arcana's territory? Like what's going on in this? Is Zarya older and she's the real heir to the throne now? Like that's
how will Gawain take this?
That's not on the top of my list, April.
What?
What about Novateron?
Like, I mean, like, he's just gonna be like, oops,
he separated
wrong,
them.
baby.
Like, he didn't know. Yeah.
Or what if he did know? Like, that's even more.
No, he didn't know. He didn't know.
Let's just go beat up Novateron. Like, he deserves it.
No, he just doesn't know what's happening. Yeah. Okay, so we'll see, the ramifications moving forward, and, very interesting how Zarya reacts. Very, very, very interesting how Kitty reacts to this. So we'll have to see. Okay, there's your over 40 minutes on the twist. Let's talk about the rest of the episode with I think expected, but here's some highlights for me from the episode that didn't involve the Arcana Zarya stuff. I think the opening sequence is really great. Which is Proxima and Auntie Yaga on Earth, and then Asthma comes. I didn't think we'd see this. Like, I think it's really bold to show us this sequence on Earth of Asthma coming to wherever they are in the Southwest. We think New Mexico, but kind of not clear. And I think there's a great sequence. It like opens with these the gargoyles, and it turns out that's on this kid's tablet playing a video game. This is a great. Great, very similar to me to the opening sequence of the show with the learning it's like in a city. It's like a take on this genre. But yeah, I don't know. I thought this was great. Like it was a impactful sequence, and yeah, Asthma gets her. She claws Yaga, and yeah.
I thought it was really interesting to see, and I don't know if it was intentional or not, but the relationship between Asthma and Auntie Yaga has like doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, I completely forgot that they were related when watching this.
I remembered, and I was just like, I was like, Asthma, like that's your aunt. Like, what are you doing? Or grandmother? I can't remember now.
Aunt, I think.
Great aunt, I think.
Great aunt. That's okay. Right.
So grandmother aunt.
Yeah.
I don't know. Auntie, whatever. She's Auntie. She's also like immortal.
And she sends this like death claw at her.
Yeah. Like, I was just like, wow, you really do not care for your family anymore. Like, and it was nice to see Tasma, like, being, again, like, doing something, because she's just been very, like, there this entire season. So she's actually, like, successful in her endeavor, so that was nice. But
good job. You almost killed your great aunt.
Yeah,
good job.
Good job. Way to go. But I thought that was, like, I don't know if I guess I was the only person who noticed, like, that there was no relationship between them anymore. Like,
I definitely noticed this because I forgot. So, like, it's, no, I was watching, episode 10 yesterday, and it's like, Auntie Yaga, like, believed Tasma and didn't believe the Mysticons. Like, none of that's here anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, no. Like, they might as well have been strangers at this point. So.
Yeah, very weird. But, yeah, just a bold opening the episode on a fight sequence on Earth. It's great. Proxima says, Earth is the worst. Auntie Yaga says, you're just hangry.
You're hangry.
Yeah.
Earth is doing the best it can.
Deities burn through a lot of calories. Yeah, don't judge. Yeah. There you go. Yeah, how do we think Auntie Yaga is being used right now? Like, should Auntie Yaga have been able to take Tasma, considering she's a minor demigod?
Yeah, I think so, though I guess, like, the evil, terrible spell makes sense.
Yeah, and she still fights through the spell and is about to escape, but Tasma just, I guess, like, grabs her. I feel like it was fulfilling enough, because before this we were all like, with Yaga protecting her, how is Tasma even going to get her? But, yeah.
She just casually goes to Earth. Like, really?
Yeah, she just...
Yeah, how did Tasma, like...
And she just straight up walks into the restaurant, like...
no one's commenting on their clothes or anything.
Nothing.
Yeah, like, granted, to be fair, like, we're just weird, so...
Who's we?
Like, humanity. Like, we're dumb.
Just you're speaking for all humans. Okay.
Yeah, I'm speaking for human race.
Yeah, it's more Earth, please. That was great. One thing I noticed, kind of watching season 1 episodes, watching this episode, I think it's cemented to me that Tasma has to be our ultimate big bad of the show, because she's the constant villain presence in Mysticons season 1. She's like working for Dreadbane, but ultimately does her own thing. And, Dreadbane's not even the villain in the season 1 finale. It's like, Tasma hiring, Kimra, and Kimra double crosses, but, it's like Tasma's the force there. Tasma's, working under Necrafa, ultimately follows Necrafa to gain more power. Like, I think I'm pretty firm on us building up to Tasma being the ultimate big bad here.
Well, that's the only way to justify, like, how she's been used so far.
Yeah.
And why she's still alive.
I think it all makes sense.
Why she's still alive.
I think it all makes sense if she's ultimately the big bad. So we talked about the Doug and Malveron plot already. Here's 2 other things I'm not crazy about in this episode, and you guys tell me if you agree or disagree. One is, we have a sequence of Piper, liking explosions and going like, kabam, kablooey. Yeah.
It's great.
And then she says, sorry, exploding stuff is fun. Did you like that, Delaney?
Well, it was funny. I didn't really like her going exploding stuff is fun. Before that, it was great.
I had the opposite reaction. I thought she went on way too long with the kablam kablooey, and then I think that exploding stuff is fun. That was a really good line read by Anna Sani. Like, I feel like that almost saved
it did go, like, pretty long, but I also just really liked them playing, like, a basketball casually.
Yeah, you like the portal bag basketball?
Yeah, that was pretty good. Mainly because they were using Chaco. Like, he just puts up so much. And he, likes it, I guess. Like, he's a weirdo.
Weirdo, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Here's other thoughts on that. Anyone else? I didn't like that Piper scene. I thought that was like, it was like 20 seconds, and it was like, okay, we didn't need to do that.
I want to hear what your other thing is before I comment.
The other one's the worst one. Like this one I'm going to defer to you guys on. But let me outline what happened in the episode.
I might know what that is.
General Tibian, who's been a on and off presence on the show, and he's a Spectre now. And I really hope Tibian makes it through the usurping Necrafa era. Like, I hope he
survives.
Tibian needs to serve under Tasma next season. Like, he's other than this though, he was really bad here because he says they're having their fake argument. He says, meow, cat fight, settle in, boys. This is gonna be good.
Why?
And then it turns
you're
out
like this weird specter. Like all of this is weird.
And then he says the whole argument was a distraction, and then M takes that as like smart boy Tibian. So yeah, what was your reaction to that, Delaney?
Well, obviously it was terrible. Like, I mean, at first, like, I mean, when he, like, it's like, it was just uncomfortable. Like, I felt really uncomfortable. Like, it's mainly, like, the age of the characters, and he's, like, this creepy, like, specter thing, and, like, his voice is weird. All of it's, like, the cat fight. Like, what is this? Like, 2005? Like, why are you doing this? And it just felt really out of place. Like, it's just so weird.
Yeah.
After, though, it was really funny. Like, when she,
so
like,
the intent
smart
of...
boy Tibian.
Right, the intent of the episode is that he's being an annoying jerk and that they are just easily outsmarting him.
Yes.
Yeah. April, what was your reaction here?
I could have done without it. And I could have done, I felt like they were just trying to, like, kind of fill time, if that makes sense. Like, they're like, we're gonna let Piper just go on for a hot minute and fill up that time. And then we're just gonna have this. Like, they could have done that without him, like, blatantly pointing out all of it. Does that make sense? Like, yeah. I don't know. Wasn't it? Well, I agree. I wasn't as into those moments as I think I should have been.
Yeah. Beatriz, about the cat fight specifically.
Well, okay. One, that line sounds like something I would have written at 13 in a fanfic, just simply because I thought, this is how men talk.
This is how men talk.
So I was just like, that was not a really well-made line. And I will say I would have preferred that to have actually been an argument, and him would have just, and if he would have just said, like, stop, keep quiet, blah, 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 and, like, I don't know, scolded them, and then that would have been enough to distract him or something. Like, I don't know, there was just so many different ways that this could have played out and still kept similar elements, just changed a couple lines, and it could have been fine. So yeah, that's a line that happened.
Okay, I reacted very negatively to this from like a feminist lens because this feels very out of place in Mysticons. Mysticons does not have sexist language like this, like catfight. Like it's like sexist coded language, and the show just doesn't do that. This is coming from a villain. It's supposed to be bad, but it doesn't change the fact that it's in the show. It's directed at 15-year-old girls. It's very inappropriate. And this is something that a lesser show does. Like, I was very disappointed, to be honest here. I don't know why the show needs that. I don't know why we need sexist coded language directed at our main characters. I don't know what it added to the plot. It's almost as if we're not aware that it has like sexist connotations. Just very, very anti the sequence. You know, I can't think of a similar analog from any other line on the show. Like the show just doesn't have.
Yeah, it doesn't do this.
No, it really doesn't. I'm like running through it in my head, and I'm like, no, you're
like,
right.
If you call catfight to a bunch of women, that's very sexist. Like it's just I don't know. Like, are we aware that that's true, or are
they going to use that line on like Malveron and Doug?
Like, I don't know. Like it really like felt tonally out of place. Like that,
and like the delivery on it, like everything on it was weird.
Like it stood out because it tonally did not fit with the rest of the show. Like it did. Like I remember taking note of that line because it just didn't. That's not the language they normally use. So it's very strange. Like I wonder what was the thought process for that. Like it's interesting.
I mean, I can understand how we get there. It's because it's like Tibian is like a comic relief character and he's being tricked here. So him saying something like this is, I can very easily see how you arrived at that. It's just this specific sexist like language is not what he needed to say at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He could have said literally anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, just the fact that Tibian talks is funny because his voice is absurd.
I still really like General Tibian. He's still a highlight, but
and when he just like goes
want
flying
him to
into the wall, it's amazing.
Yeah.
And he doesn't die like everyone else does. Like all the other specters like instantly poof, and he's resilient, I guess.
Keep him around. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. So I don't know. But that accentuated the B plot of Doug and Malveron as not feeling great to me because I just don't know why we need to have this boys B plot.
See, I was really confused by the B plot too. Like, I was like, are we really doing this? Because again, like, that's time that we could have spent doing more important things. Like, exploring more of like, you know, how Zarya is actually the twin, or like them trying to get out of like Necrofa's lair or something along those lines. And like it just seemed really like odd that this like terrible like curse thing or whatever, the phantom hand, like
just being a nuisance.
Yeah, it's just being a nuisance. Like it's just being like a pest. And it's like, I thought this is supposed to like kill people, and here it is just chasing you guys around. Like,
and
does it
screaming the whole time?
Yeah, like
yeah, it feels weird in terms of plot importance. I mean, it's supposed to be like narrative structure wise the comic relief like part of the episode. But
it feels out of place in like you know the first half of the season finale.
Yeah, exactly. I was rewatching 12 and 13, and they don't have anything like this. Yeah, it's not. They don't have the an important comic relief B plot. And it's not even so much. It's also the fact that we just feel the need to have the boys plot. That feels really bad to me because the A plot features exclusively women, like, doing, awesome plot stuff. Like, it completely revolves entirely around female characters, plus, I guess, General Tibian. And again, that's the point of the line. It's like, oh, there's this, stupid male with all these women. He's being an idiot. Yeah, that's the point of the line, but it didn't, anyway, still bad. But, yeah, it's, and then you just feel the need to have the Doug and Malvern plot. Why do they need their own plot? It's fine that, I don't hate that Doug exists, but he doesn't need his own plot, and he doesn't need his own plot with Malveron. It kind of takes away from what we're doing in the A plot.
I would
also they're not doing anything.
Yeah, like I would have preferred the B plot being like Malveron actually trying to like cure Auntie Yaga or something along those lines, or like them trying to get Auntie Yaga to like the Astromancer so that they can help, you know, get her better or something along those lines. But they literally like were like, cool, we're gonna take this out and then it's gonna chase us around. Like I don't.
Yeah, I mean, there's two levels. There's the fact that it's inconsequential, but, I don't know, like 95% of Mysticons, checks out, like feminist wise. And then there's like the 5% of the show that feels the need to have the Doug and Malveron spotlight. The male characters can exist. And to be fair, the show is like 80% plus female characters, and it consistently introduces female characters and has female villains and stuff like that. It's wonderful. But, it's just like, it seems like specific spotlight on the Malveron character at points that doesn't need to be, or something. Like Malveron acting in relation to the Mysticons, great. Malveron having his own B plot in you know, when I don't know, doesn't check out to me. Okay, yeah.
I think we all agree.
Okay, we haven't talked about the spectral dragon yet. Two-headed giant dragon doesn't hatch as a little thing, and as discussed. What do we think of this design? What was the reaction to the dragon? Terrified?
The dragon looks super cool. It looks like a Yu-Gi-Oh dragon.
Yeah, that was what I also thought. Yeah.
I like that, like, its neck lights up. Like, that's cool. Also, it had to be two-headed because it's the twin stars. So, like, I'm cool with it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
See, I didn't think that. I was really surprised it had two heads, actually.
Yeah, I was like, why not three? Go away. But no, that makes sense.
Let's go for 4.
Gonna be, like, transparent. Like, I thought it was gonna like I didn't realize the spectral part was like it's scary blue flames, like or plasma or whatever it's firing. Like, I thought it was gonna be like clear or something. Like,
I thought it was interesting that sort of the design of the dragon matched Necrofa a little bit. It has a bit more color, but I thought that was really interesting how like its body seems to be black, and then it has like these orange and sort of teal, like, I don't know, like not highlights, but you know what I mean? Like sort of like called out features. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
That's an interesting observation. Do we think it comes from the same ancient magic as Necrofa?
Yes.
Yeah.
Ancient evil force.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's linked to the Mysticons. Do you guys think the dragon could switch sides at any point, maybe?
With proper training. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what the dragon's doing, because Necrofa seems to tame it pretty easily and then rides it out at the end. Time to raise the realm. Very extra line from Necrofa. Necrofa was really campy this episode. I thought
it's
she was
amazing.
wonderful.
I love her.
I agree, this was like maybe the best Necrofa episode. Like, she's so campy here, it's great.
Her eyes she just looks so silly. I love her.
I'm pretty convinced we are defeating Necrofa next week. So unfortunately,
Tomorrow.
she's gone
Bye.
tomorrow. Yeah, just as soon as possible. But yeah, it's a good part one of a send up. But yeah, I don't know. What are we doing with the dragon? I think the dragon might survive Necrofa.
I hope so.
Well, I don't think bad happened to the dragon. It's a cool looking dragon.
You're concerned about the dragon.
I am concerned. I have vegetarian concerns for the dragon.
Well, we don't want to eat the dragon, but it doesn't mean it's still an evil force.
I care about its safety.
Does the do dragons in the Mysticons world work the same as a lot of fantasy dragons, where they're like just as smart as humans, and they're not just like an animal. Like a lot of fantasy dragons have like human intelligence and stuff. Did we get that read from this dragon?
No.
I don't know.
I thought it seemed more like a pet, which was kind of
really angry.
Yeah, it looked upset. It was
it didn't seem like a D&D dragon to me. Like in my experience with D&D dragons, I don't know the entire handbook and stuff, but they're all smart and stuff. So I don't know.
Maybe it is smart. We just haven't gotten to see that yet. So
yeah,
it knew who its owner was. So
why does Necrofa own it? Like that's
no. It went along with her. She like stood up to it and was like, "No, fam, you will bow before me." And it was like, I guess I have to. Like, you survived my magical blast, so
yeah. All other specters getting disintegrated. I thought that was notable.
Also, Necrofa saving Tasma, such a soft spot for her. Like, it kind of drives me crazy.
Necrofa can't be nice to one person.
No, not when she's always like, if you don't figure this out in an hour, I'm gonna kill you. And it's like, how many times
it's
have you
all
said
talk.
That to her?
It's all talk.
It's all talk at this point. Like, if I was Tasma, I wouldn't be worried. I'd be like, whatever you say, Necrofa. Like, I'm gonna figure this out.
Dragon is that beam. The beam also deflects the special attacks from the Mysticons. I thought that was notable.
That's a problem.
Yeah, that's super problem.
Because that's how we kept Necrofa in check up until this point. She doesn't have the gems. Their special attacks still work on her. They don't work on the dragon.
Maybe this is the time for power-ups. Maybe they're going to finally get some like new powers. And the reason why they emphasize how Piper loves explosions is that her next power is going to have to deal with explosions. Theory.
Okay.
I mean, she already has pixie blasts.
True, but I mean, like, even
that's
more,
kind of
Yeah.
More.
Interesting. Power-ups. I think given the potential upcoming Ladybug power-ups, I'm anti-power-ups right now.
You're anti.
I'm anti.
Power-ups.
Like, I prefer that to them suddenly doing the whole, like, fly, Phoenix, fly, and suddenly I'm magically working again. Like, I need some reason I need consistency with these magic things. I will not buy it again.
They're not going to they can't beat the dragon with the spectral. They wouldn't have shown that if they
I'm wondering if it's here's how Kitty gets to come back. So they use Kitty to distract the dragon, and that because I guess the way that I sort of watched it was because it saw that it was being attacked and knew, so that way it was able to defend itself. But maybe if it's distracted, then that's whenever they can use, their powers against it, and then it'll actually like have an impact kind of thing.
But they need to do it multiple times. It can't just be a one-shot thing.
Well, also, it has two heads too, so it can see two things.
Let's try chopping one of those heads off, and then
it's gonna grow back.
Yes, three heads.
Let's do that. Yeah. Very interested to see how this dragon. The two elements I don't know what's happening with are the dragon and Proximo. I don't know if they're going to be related or not, but could be interesting. Other random things to close out from the episode. Oh yeah, we had this no dabbing running gag from the
I thought that was
like,
great.
I appreciate that. I was like,
were we talking about this other type of dabbing?
I think we were talking about both.
I think obviously
it was both. It was both.
Were you surprised that neither character dabbed in the episode?
I'm very thankful.
Don't do it.
They were very outspoken about their feelings towards dabbing. So
No dabbing, yeah.
no dabbing.
Doug wanted to dab.
You know, Doug is a special creature.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. Oh, the other scene. Oh, I was gonna. Okay. Other than the twin stuff, I really love two scenes. One is the opening scene. The second is Arcana and Zarya go to free Proxima, and nope, JK, it's Necrafa. It's not Proxima, and her head is on Proxima's
That
body.
was crazy.
freaky.
Arcana says, "It's okay, sis. It's me, Arcana."
And then Necrafa's like,
Arcana. Yeah.
Ah!
I loved that. It was a great visual. And
Terrifying.
Necrafa's head on Proxima.
Can't wait to see that on Nick Jr.
yeah, they did. By the way, update. They pulled. They finally
finally-
pulled Mysticons.
What?
The parents complained.
Surprising no one.
But now Mysticons airing at 2 p.m. on Nicktoons every day. So there you go. But in addition to our weekend airings, but that's how Tasma, Necrafa, and Proxima learn that Arcana is Dragon Mage. That's notable if you're keeping track of the identities, which we're not.
I hope Tasma's. This is all I want for Tasma. I want her to be smart enough to figure out, okay, if Arcana is Mysticon Dragon Mage, then the other three girls that Arcana hangs out with have to be the other Mysticons. Like, can
Nope,
we please?
not smart enough.
No, can please? That's like Tasmademption for me.
Redemption, please. That would be great.
Yeah, they're like, okay, Mysticon Ranger later. Like they don't. It's like
Yeah, like there's
she's still a secret, but Arcana's not. Yeah.
They're specifically using their Mysticon like titles.
And not just
Was-
that, but like Zarya, is she going to be announced as a twin? That automatically makes her the Ranger. Like if it's publicly announced.
Oh yeah. If it's they might try to keep it a secret from the public.
Oh,
because-
but Tasma and Necrafa didn't see what happened, so they might still think Proxima's the
yeah,
twin.
they don't know.
Oh, yeah, they don't know. Sigh. Okay.
Proxima's going to get in trouble again.
The problem, I think, with this being an identity reveal is that we don't care about the identities,
Yeah.
and it doesn't track well throughout the show. But I think the scene is great on its own just because of the Necrafa imitating Proxima, and this is maybe the smartest Necrafa's ever been. Like, this is her best plan.
This is her best. This is her best moment.
Tasman's like, you're right.
Hatch
They're
the
coming
dragon,
for
raise the realm.
Yeah, that's not her best plan. That just kind of fell into her lap. But this worked out well. She was smart here.
But also, why weren't they making an effort to go after Arcana? Like they were like, we got Proxima. Haha.
Yeah, they did in last episode.
Yeah,
in the
they made an effort to go get her, but then this time they were just like, we're just gonna wait for the Mysticons to show up, and it's like, but that does not help you get the other, like that doesn't help you get Arcana. So
right, unless they had suspicions, which it didn't seem like. It seemed like Tasman's like, you were right, they would show up to rescue. Not you were right, it was Dragon. It was
But, but didn't they help Arcana? Like the Mysticons helped stop them from getting Arcana last episode. So they probably like, okay, the Mysticons are coming. So then after we deal with the Mysticons in this trap, we can go get Arcana without any problem. Does that make sense?
I think that's kind of what they're going for. Yeah. So I don't know. I think it's fine. Okay, wrapping up other lines. Proxima, it appears the evil lich hit a glitch.
And then Dragon Bird.
Ouch, Dragon
Dragon
Bird.
Bird.
Yeah, Arcana being a dork with the Dragon Bird. That is great. I like when the dragon's released, retreat, run for your undead lives. I think Tibian.
Tibian.
Yeah, that was a good Tibian line. And Piper says, nice kitty to the dragon.
That was good. I like nice kitty.
Yeah, it's good. Yaga at the end, I'm never ordering lunch from Earth again. What was that?
Heartburn.
Heartburn? Yeah.
Also, what was she doing ordering seafood in the middle of a desert? Like,
not a good call. Yeah, she doesn't know. She's not from
I was like, I want the shrimp bucket. Don't do that. What are you doing?
yeah, like you're nowhere near the ocean. I can tell.
Yeah. Oh, and we talked about this before, but with the scene with them playing basketball, the Arcana and Zarya is like, you're stressing out Proxima. We've come a long way. A princess and a pauper, BFFs.
Yeah.
Like, that whole scene I loved. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I wrote down very specifically. I was like, it's so sad that they're gonna end up being twins.
I know. Can I still ship them? Is that like, is this?
Yes.
People still ship Luke and Leia, so yeah, still ship them.
Yeah, this is it's still great. Okay, well, it was it was so good. This ride. I hope we don't end the great Zarya and Arcana interactions. Yeah.
We'll still get tension. It'll be good.
Yeah, still need tension.
Arcana gets upset because Zarya is spending so much time with Kitty because Zarya can't romantically pursue Arcana anymore.
Right, that's what they could have done, but no, I don't think we're doing that. No. Sigh. Okay, Delaney, what are your final thoughts on Twin Stars Unite?
I mean, overall, I did like the episode. I don't think necessarily it was like a completely standout episode. Like, I'm really happy that like it's Zarya and stuff, but like I think the rest of the episode kind of falls flat.
Interesting. April.
I liked the episode. I liked the reveal. It was very satisfying. Like I said before, could have done without the B plot. I also don't really feel that it set us up too much into the finale. So, it
was its own independent unit, yeah.
Yeah, it was very much its own independent unit, and I really, really thought it was going to set us up for the finale, but it didn't, so it almost kind of, like, I know we have, like, our theories, but if I didn't really have a theory, I would have no idea what the finale would consist of, and what sort of, like, plot twist they're going to present before us, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, good episode.
But yeah, no idea what we're doing. I mean, other than defeating Necrofa, I think we have a lot open in the finale. Beatriz, final thoughts.
Kind of going off what April said. Good episode, but if I were to consider it as like a part one of a 2-part thing, it wouldn't be. It's not good. But as its own sole episode, it's fine. And yeah, if Necrofa does like perish next episode, it's gonna be so fitting that her death will be just as quick, like it will happen just as quickly as she came, and it will happen just not quickly as she came, but like it will be as meaningless as her presence
wow,
like because she hasn't done anything. So them defeating her, like for me, it's like okay, let's move on. Like she hasn't, she doesn't deserve like the incredible epic ending that her introduction promised.
We're not killing her, there's other figuratively killing her.
Oh yes. Ending her presence in the show.
Yeah. I don't think she's we'll see. I'll hold off because I think it's happening next week to what I think's happening. But it's not part one. This is not part one and part two. Like it's not called Twin Stars Unite Part 1. Much like episode 12, it's supposed to be it's its own thing. It's just
like surely we're not going to have something ridiculous while Necrofa is burning the realm.
Yeah, and the preview for next episode opens with Necrofa riding the dragon coming to the Astromancer, I think. So yeah, she's we'll see. And the description talks about finding a weapon to defeat her. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with weapon to take down Necrofa and dragon. We left dragon off of the.
We're not concerned about the dragon. We just. Like one at a time, Dylan.
I thought we're more concerned about the dragon's life than Necrofa's life, right? Like we'd rather the dragon.
I care more about the dragon than Necrofa.
Like I want the dragon to survive somehow, but Necrofa can just go away.
I want a baby dragon.
Yeah, remember Auntie Yaga initially talked about the Mysticons having a baby dragon.
That's right. That's the weapon. Get a pet dragon.
That's what we thought the spectral thing would hatch, but no. So where's the baby dragon coming into play?
Maybe it is a baby because it's just been hatched, even though it's fully grown.
Maybe it'll get bigger. You don't know.
Yeah. They get a pet dragon. It'll be so cute.
I guess that could just be a baby. Yeah. Okay. That'd be interesting. The show would do something like that. So, you see what happens to Spectra. And yeah, I love Twin Stars Unite. I think it's like just below the top tier of episodes, but, still really great. Very excited for next week's finale, which is The Dragon's Rage. See, we're considering the season 2 finale based off of the writing structure of the show, and we'll have coverage next week. Let us know what you thought of Dragon's Rage. Let us know what you thought of the Twin Stars Unite, our 40-minute discussion on the twist that happens, and leave comments on YouTube, on our website, overlyanimated.com. And of course, join us on Discord to talk everything about it at overlyanimated.com/Discord. Bunch of finale speculation and stuff happening. And, very excited for, I've been holding off on getting into one of the titles, in season 3 because we have better things to speculate about for now, but also speculation about some season 3 episodes. All of that at our Discord. Join us there to talk Mysticons. And consider supporting us on Patreon, patreon.com/overlyanimated. Thank you very much to all of our current patrons, especially our patron of the podcast, Hope, a.k.a. Katara. And thanks as always to our patron executive producers, John, Ryan, Steve, Alex, Andy, and Hugh. Check out overlyanimated.com for a bunch of podcasts that Mysticons our only current show, but we got Star Podcast in there. There's some Adventure Time, rewatch stuff from Alex. Find all that at overlyanimated.com. Thank you very much, guys, for listening. We will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
But I just missed the bye.
Say bye.
Bye.